Welcome back. Well, the distribution of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine on pause this weekend as a CDC panel investigates potential links to a rare blood clot disorder. Joining me right now in a Fox Business exclusive, another maker of COVID-19 vaccine, the CEO of Moderna is here, Stephane Bancel. Stephane, great to see you this weekend. Thank you very much for joining us. I want to start off with your reaction to these latest developments about the blood clotting. What do you know about this? People are worried now about vaccines in general.
So good morning, Maria, and thank you for having me. So we are, of course, monitoring safety very carefully, and we have since the vaccine has been authorized in December. We are talking, of course, to the FDA and the CDC on a very regular basis. The good news so far is that the vaccine seems, like we saw in the phase 3 study, to be very well tolerated. We have now more than 46 million people worth of data. So it starts to be a big number. I think the good news, if there's a silver lining in what's happening today, is the American people should feel great about the CDC and the FDA and how they take safety of American citizens very seriously, and that any signals needs to be investigated to make sure that the vaccines can be used safely. I'm, of course, not close to the situation because it is not our product, but I believe and trust the FDA and the CDCs and the scientists and the advisors to do the right thing for the American people.
Yeah, no, you make a great point, and you have to be congratulated. I want to thank you on behalf of all of our viewers who have gotten vaccinated and who are planning on it. You did this in warp speed. You got a vaccine out on the market and really lifted the public up. So thank you to you and to all of your scientists, Stephane, for this incredible performance. People now are worried about side effects, worried about the need for another booster shot. What are your thoughts on this? How much efficacy should we expect after getting vaccinated with the Moderna vaccine?
Those are great questions, Maria. So on the efficacy, we announced this week that after 6 months after the boost, following the participant in the phase 3 study, and it was 30,000 people, we are still seeing an efficacy north of 90%. And so 6 months after the vaccine seems to be doing very well in the real world, where, as you know, we have variants circulating in the community. So we continue to feel very confident about the vaccine and continue to advise people, given the risk of long disease with long COVID or hospitalization, and also to get this pandemic under control so we can go back to all our normal lives and be with our loved ones and be outside and traveling, that people should be vaccinated. And the variant is going to be the big question in terms of boosting. And I think there are 2 things to think about. One is natural waning immunity, which is either you get infected naturally and you make antibodies, or you get vaccinated and you make antibodies. Over time, the level of antibody is going to go down. That is normal and natural. And so you have this effect, which is over time, boosts are going to be required. It is too early to know how frequently because we don't have enough data. The other component, Maria, is the variants.
Yeah. These variants are worrisome because we don't know how severe they are, right?
Correct. And we don't know how they're going to impact in the long term the vaccine efficacy. In the short term, we are not worried. The B.1.1.7, the one first identified in the UK, which is very prevalent in the US now, we have seen and shown and published that the level of antibody is similar to the old strain of a virus. So we feel very good about this one. In the one for P1, the one first identified in Brazil, and 351, the one first identified in South Africa, you see a little bit of a drop of the antibody, but still way higher than the antibody that people get infected. So we believe that people will be protected against those 2 variants in the short term. What is impossible to know, Maria, is what happens in the fall or next winter if we have those variants or new variants that don't exist yet or have not been sequenced yet, which is why we believe that boosting is going to be really important to keep the country safe and open. And we are working very hard at it. In 30 days, Moderna 2 months ago, developed a variant boost for the South Africa strain. It's in the clinic now. We published this week data in animals showing it works very well, and we should have human data very soon.
I see. Okay. Stephane, let me ask you with regard to this blood clotting that we're hearing about from Johnson & Johnson. The Wall Street Journal reported this week that J&J privately reached out to other COVID-19 makers to say, look, Pfizer and Moderna, let's join efforts to look into the reports of blood clotting. Let's do a little bit more of a deep dive on the blood clotting risks. J&J, through emails and phone calls with the Wall Street Journal, said that they tried to build an informal alliance among all of those companies. Your thoughts on that? Did you decline? Did Pfizer decline? What happened?
So what I can tell you, Maria, is we communicate to the regulators, the FDA, and to the CDC, and of course, to the US government on a daily basis. We share all the data as we have to. There is a very high level of cooperation. We believe that it's the regulators who has to coordinate and gather and collect all the data and compare the data. I don't think it is something that industry should be doing. I think it's the job of regulators, and I think our regulators are doing a very fine job, as I said earlier.
Okay. I want to talk to you about the vaccine day that you had this week. A number of analysts are talking about the growth potential for Moderna. First, tell us what you revealed in terms of the COVID-19 situation, and then I'd like to talk about the impact of this vaccine day to highlight the other things you're working on in the pipeline at Moderna.
Yes, Maria. So on COVID-19, we revealed the piece we just talked about, which is 6-month efficacy is very high, level of antibody at 6 months is very high, and that the variant candidate, which is being tested in the clinic right now as a boost, is performing very well in animal testing, and that we should have very soon in the spring the clinical data. The FDA has set very clear guidelines of what they expect to see in terms of size of a study and endpoint of a study, which is very helpful to industry. And so we are hopeful that potentially, late in the summer or early fall, we could have a boost specific to the South Africa strain authorized on the US market. That would be a wonderful thing, so that next fall and next winter are safe. In terms of the rest of the pipeline, as you know, Maria, Moderna is a platform company. And in traditional pharmaceuticals, you don't have platforms. Every drug is a different drug with its own risk profile. mRNA is like software. It's 4 letters that codes every mRNA under the sun to make protein in your body. And so we have a very large pipeline of 9 vaccines. And most of those vaccines, Maria, they are first-in-class vaccine. What does it mean? It means they are vaccine against virus that hurts human, for which there's no vaccine on the market. As you know, they are flu vaccines, but as it's well reported, in a good year, you get 60% efficacy, which is not great. And in a bad year, you get 20 or 30% efficacy. We believe we can bring, thanks to mRNA, a 90+% efficacy flu vaccine. And our vision, Maria, is to combine the COVID boost with a flu vaccine into one single dose, so that every year you can go to your CVS store or your GP, get one dose that will have the right variant of COVID for that winter, the right flu strain for that winter, so that you are safe and can have a nice fall and winter. That's another piece we talked about.
That's a big deal.
And it's a huge deal. I think it's going to totally disrupt the current flu market. And I think a lot of people that today do not want to take a flu shot because they worry about lack of efficacy will in the future want a flu shot so that they can not be sick of flu or be hospitalized. As you know, before COVID, we still had 30, 60,000 people being hospitalized every year in this country because of flu, and many, many days of work lost, or time with families and friends and vacation lost because of flu. So I think we can really have a big dent on this virus as well with our platform.
A word on cancer as well, and HIV vaccine, Stephane. This was also part of the growth story at the Vaccine Day this week.
Correct. So we are partnering with Dr. FOXI team at the NIH and many scientists around the country on an HIV vaccine that sounds very promising. As you know, 40 years after the discovery of HIV and AIDS, we still don't have a vaccine to protect people, and the world needs a vaccine against HIV. We have 5 drugs in the clinical trial against cancer, from skin cancer, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and many more. We have also a drug partnered with AstraZeneca in cardiology that is injected in people's heart as a one intervention, Maria. It takes around 10 minutes after a heart attack, so that the mRNA will instruct your heart muscle to grow new blood vessel, to rebring oxygen and nutrients to your heart muscle, so that if you survive your heart attack, you can have a good quality of life without having heart failure.
It's been an incredible year, and we thank you. Stephane Bancel, thanks very much for joining me, and congrats on this incredible performance at Moderna. We will see you soon. Thank you, Stephane.